Hello and good day. It is Sunday and we are going to have some real talk. We are going to be talking about a big red dot, wink, wink today. Anybody heard of those TEDx talks and stages? Yes. Well, if anybody is thinking about what do they all have in common? They may have different names and they may be in different locations throughout the world, but they all have one big red dot. So we have a panel today that we're going to be diving into that. And let me tell you, they are all fabulous. So let's get to it. We have a panelist, a global panel. And in fact, with our production coordinator out of Canada, Caroline Brown, we have like we're on different continents, global. I'm so excited about this group. However, before I go into introductions, I have a little clip. So, without further ado, let's meet our panelists. To my left, we have Bilyana. Bilyana is someone that's been on both the Service Hero show and the Tour of Love show. So many of you may recognize her. She is actually out of the European theater, and currently you're in London, correct?
That is correct. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, where it is here is evening.
Excellent, excellent. And Bilyana has been on the TEDx stage, the big red dot. She's been on it, and she is now considered a coach. And she is all things, well, if anybody remembers the stories we've told about this woman, she is an analytic. She understands like the numbers and the rules behind the numbers and all of the things that, I go to her and ask. And so we are lucky enough to have Bilyana with us. Next to her left, we have Jeff. Jeff Stein is, well, let's just say I'm so excited to have him on this show. I've been wanting to have him on one of the shows for a while, and we're going to dive deep into his TEDx talk. And the reason why he's all about speaking and helping people to have their voice. Next, below me, many recognize Dr. Sony Jackson. Yes, the Empire Builder is back today, this morning, wherever you may be in the United States or the world. She is here because she has helped to put on stages, and we're going to be learning. There's different roles within TEDx and the way that they run it. They run it very strict. So she's coming from the putting it on side, or in that chair, wink, wink. And then we have rounding it out, a new friend of mine that I was introduced to by AJ Boyden. Thank you, AJ. And yet our world is so small. We know some people in common and such things. And she's from San Diego, of all places, where I was born and raised. Yet this is her first time on any of the shows. So excited to have Rachelle Babler. And she is a speaker. She's been on the TEDx stage with a powerful message, buddies. Powerful. And now she's helping others that want to get on the stage to refine their messages, plus so much more. So I want to welcome you all. We're going to dive into it. And actually, I'm going to start with Rachelle. Rachelle, I have a clip and I'm going to share it. And because on there, on the intro for the show, I also say, hey, there might be some music. So here's your music, everyone. We're going to have it right here.
Bad news if things could really end. Still smile for all my family and friends. I know
Beautiful voice. Beautiful
Thank
voice.
you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And I want to recognize those people that are here with us and let everybody know that it means so much every single time you guys show up. Helene, thank you for being here. Cinnamon, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Can I just say how glad that you're here? And hello, Kim O'Neill, and everyone as you're coming in. Thank you for being here. Rachel, I have watched your show or your talk many times now. Every time I do, I hear something different. Every time I do, I can't get through it without a tissue.
Mm-hmm.
That song in itself, without really, beautiful voice. Absolutely. I so agree. And you can feel the emotions in there. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that song?
Sure. So in 2016, my sister was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And she battled it for 2.5 years. And in 2018, she passed away. And the day after she passed away, I was just so heartbroken. And I channeled all my grief into writing, and it turned into that song. And it really was my interpretation of her cancer journey and what she went through and her faith, and how she was such a warrior throughout the whole, her whole journey, and how she inspired others to really take action and get screened and advocate for colon cancer awareness. So that song was played at her celebration of life. And the journey of where that song took me was where it ended up on the TEDx stage. On my talk was the power of advocating through music, and I used that song to advocate for colon cancer awareness, and that opened the door to an idea we're spreading for the TEDx stage. And so it was really hard to do on that stage. I've spoken for years, but that talk was hands down the most difficult talk I've ever done because it was so personal and very emotional.
And I'd like to follow through and ask this question because I'm sure many people are going to be wondering. When did you know you wanted to share this message, or did you know that this was the TEDx talk, if you will, message, big idea that you wanted to take to the stage?
Yeah, so after I wrote the song and played it at our celebration of life, my guitar instructor and I decided to publish it just to maybe raise some money for colon cancer awareness in honor of my sister. And then during the pandemic, I remember I was sitting here at my desk and I was like, what else can I do to continue my sister's legacy, to keep it alive, to share her story so that other people can connect to her story and bring awareness to colon cancer. And that's when I started to reach out to, I did my own outreach, which I do for clients, but I did my own, and I reached out to as many colon cancer groups as I could. I created a lyric video of that song and shared her story. And what transpired from that was the connections that I made with these colon cancer groups. I sent them a cold email and they responded that they were moved to tears by what they had just watched, and her song and her story. And I thought, wow, if this did this to me, what could it do for others if people advocated for a cause through music? So that's really what I was doing. I took that song to advocate her story through music, to bring awareness to, something that, a lot of people are affected by. Colon cancer is the number 4, cause of deaths of all cancers currently. And so, that was when I was like, wow, if this did this to me, what could it do for others? And that's when I, started to think of what that idea could be to share on the TEDx stage.
Thank you for sharing that. And I want to also highlight the fact that you in sending this out and then getting that out, the song out with the associating video that's talked about in your TEDx, you have now had people coming back to you and saying, because of this, I have gone and had a colonoscopy. Because of this, I am being tested. Because of this, I may be alive because this was found or that was found. How does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, it feels like my sister didn't die in vain, you know. Her story continues and lives, and people connect to it, and it really can make an impact to them to actually take that next step to get screened. One out of
Mhm.
3 people over 50 will skip their colonoscopies, and now the age has been lowered to 45, and I've had many people reach out to me telling me that they've got screened, they found precancerous polyps, they were removed, and it's all about prevention. So you know, it's really great when I hear people finally take that, you know, next step to take action and to take care of themselves. And it's such a preventable, treatable thing when it's found early. So that's why it's so important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to get that out there. And I want to now go to, thank you. I am now going to go to Jeff. And I also have a clip from Jeff. And you guys be prepared for this one.
I shouldn't be here right now. Is the difference between life and death really a sausage McMuffin, 2 hash browns, and a Diet Coke? What does it mean? Why am I here?
I pulled that because they're probably thinking, why are you here? And what is it all about? A sausage McMuffin, and that's how TEDx or speaking can be about, is that you want to get their attention. You may not want to give it all at once. I know because of the TEDx rules, and Bilyana was able to give them to me, and so I made sure that we played within the rules. I could only do a minimal amount of time. And Jeff, your TEDx talk, why don't you tell them the title of it? And you're on mute right now. I want to make sure you're off.
No, I'm aware.
Okay. Okay.
It's the part where I too much Clubhouse and I figured out how to unmute and mute and be at the right times.
There you go.
So absolutely, I appreciate it. And yeah, so the title of my talk was Understanding Your Weight Problem. And, you know, it was more about how weight is beyond a physical construct. It can be mental, it can be psychological, it can be stress, it can be traumatic. And in my particular case, I talked a lot about it being a traumatic piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, like what Rachel talked about, I talked about a friend that I lost, and it was kind of a legacy piece for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a piece where I was able to gain some closure in that regard, and from a couple of ways. One, closure, and to honor that individual. Two, in the fact that there were the aspects of, it's funny, I haven't seen it in a while, and I saw that clip and I'm like, wow, okay, that got me a little teared up. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of days, and there have been a lot of days where it was a question of the ultimate question of, why are you here? What are you here to do? What's your purpose? You know, especially in a case like what happened, where, you know, as you're aware, because you've seen the talk, on that particular day, I almost died twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and in weird circumstances. So yeah, absolutely. It definitely starts to creep into your mind, and it creates a weight that can be unbearable if you're not careful.
And to follow through on, not without giving it away, guys, you need to see these, especially these 2 talks. I really want to encourage, and I'm going to be putting links up for you guys to be, you know, following through, and they'll be afterwards, but I'm not giving them right now because I don't want you to go there. I want you to hear this right this minute. And in your talk also, and I love this, you started out, you go into, you know, you're kind of like leading us through the moment, and then wham, boom, we're there in the emergency room with you, we're there in the hospital with you, we're there then with your journey of going through, if you will, the pieces of it. And then you go on to, you know, kind of like what you've done with that. So in this, because TEDx talks and we're going to go into this too, are only for so many minutes, right? And in that journey, you're taking us through that, and then you're sharing, yes, how you were able to take this and do good. And you've done that, haven't you?
I've tried to. I mean, I'm, I always have that feeling like there's always more to do, and there always will be. But one of the things that I talk about is, ironically, one of the reasons I speak, and one of the people who was one of my first mentors, ironically, was the person that I lost. And so, as a result, I realized that when I work with people and I tell my stories and I do what I do, a little piece of his legacies and his memories go with other people. And so I am all about helping people to share their voice. And I am all about helping people to find ways to magnify what they're doing, what they're saying, and how to go about that, because it's just part of that whole piece, because we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And if I can do that, then I'm passing that along. And to me, I feel like it makes me feel like I'm making the difference that I've questioned on. I had questioned for 20 something years. And even in the process of creating that piece, and this is something I haven't talked a lot about. So this is something you weren't even aware of, Tamara, but Barbara is aware, because she knew I was being my head in with it, which is that in the middle of, while I was working on this particular piece, was the height of my major depression.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I was a mess. I really was a mess. And there was a period where I really thought this was going to crash and burn, and it was going to go all over the place. And one of the things that you learn about is you learn a lot about yourself at that moment and what you can and can't do. And I remembered a lot about my why. And then, in fairness, I had some amazing people and friends who I could lean on. And God bless Barbara for being here today, because she was one of them. And so, to me, that's a story that it's funny. And I've had people that I've talked to, they're like, that's your TEDx story. I'm like, yeah, that's an entirely different TEDx story. So absolutely. And, it allowed me to realize, it really did allow me to realize that I was talking about understanding a weight problem, and yet I was dealing with a weight problem that was beyond anything that I realized. So yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a way to go about that. And, like I said, really, if you can share your message and you can be out there, and even if you're in the middle of something like that, you can make a difference.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. In fact, that leads us right perfectly into our next panelist, because, and I want to go to you next, Bilyana, and that is, Jeff, you mentioned the fact that, and many people, in fact, there were a few people that really we wanted to have on. And so I'm probably going to do a second show with some more speakers, because their talks are amazing. And many of them have been on more than one stage with more than one subject. And some 2, 3, 4 times. And Bilyana, let's go to you. You've been on stage, and now you're helping others to do the same. How many times have you been on a stage?
I was only once in 2019.
2019. And then you've helped others to now be on stages, and not only be on stages, but then go viral after, right?
That is correct, yes. They actually found me, so
Right.
it wasn't
right.
planned this way.
And that's oftentimes how it works. And we'll be going back to Rachel at some point too, in regards to this subject. And that's oftentimes how it works. And were you planning on a TEDx?
Not really. Beginning of 2019, at some point, I was at an event and I was thinking how cool would it be to just be on TEDx stage, and they just left it. And then in September, I was invited to be on TEDx stage, but I had to actually apply. I was invited, but I had to, do the whole application, go through interviews, shoot the videos with what the topic will be, etc. And they did accept me. So I was on stage December 2019.
Perfect. And I'm going to go to Dr. Sony, and then we're going to keep going around. So thank you for that. And then Dr. Sony, because you guys are being perfect in how you're helping to go to the next person, because of the process of getting onto a stage. There's a process there for the speakers, but there's an equally, if not even more arduous process. Because I remember, because I was hearing from you as you and your stage were going through the application process, and then all the components to put on the TEDx. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you are, where you held it, and why did you go, why did you guys decide to put on a TEDx at your location?
Well, I'm in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and we have, and I'm very involved in a community theater here, Surfside Playhouse. It is actually on the beach, or 1 mile from the beach, but we call it on the beach, beachside. And we, at that time, we had a group of people who were very intrigued by TEDx and upping the level of conversations that were being had in our community. We have surf issues, we have river issues, we have all kinds of different things that really impact a lot of people, because we do also have a lot of people come through in tourism. And so we have the opportunity not only to impact our own community, but worldwide, because of who visits us. And we have the stage, a very small playhouse. We seat about 250 people. And we floated the idea, and we really had to convince the board that it was a good idea, because, their job is not only to serve the community, but to make sure things pay for themselves. And so when you organize your first TEDx, you're in our kind of venue. We were limited to 100 tickets only. We could not sell more than that. So we really had to consider who was going to be eligible to speak, who would draw in enough people to make it interesting, and whose topics would likely go viral. And those are things that you really consider. So we had really a broad range. And I was just looking at our group of people. We did this in March of 2019. And it just happened to be that spring break period. So we had really a diverse community. And I'm plugged into several different networks. And, I blasted out to everybody I know, hey, you want to get on stage, apply. And we were very particular. We set, some of us are in education background. And so we really set the rubric, if you will, of what we wanted within the constraints of TEDx rules, what we wanted to present. So that's and so we had all the applicants. We had a way to go through it. We selected a whole team of people to review the applications. Then they were invited back for a Zoom interview. And then we made our selection.
And you had to get a license before even that, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not everybody understands that. I didn't know that until until you were going through it. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And then, we were involved in a organization at the time, and one of the co-founders of that organization flew down there to be one of the speaker coaches, right? And
that was an invaluable contribution, because I do understand there are not the level of coaching that they receive from this speaking coach, that he donated his time. That doesn't always happen. Usually you have to pay somebody, or, you get 15 minutes, when you're doing the dress rehearsal. He worked with people to refine and hone their speeches. And really, we had such a fantastic performance, if you will, because of that, because of the contribution of Don. And he flew in and from Colorado to the day of, which was fantastic.
So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go back to Bilyana on this because it's something that she and I actually spoke about not long ago in regards to that stage presence. And so what I want to do is talk about right now and with all of you. So kind of get into this frame of thinking. And that is, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch this because I know a lot of people that are very interested in getting on a TEDx stage. A lot of them. And, I hear about it all the time because I'm one of them. There's many of us. And even those that have been on once, possibly want to go on again and again. Jeff, just heard you talking. Okay, that one should be So with that, okay, so you're thinking about what is your topic. Okay, Rachel and Jeff, we dove into yours. Amazing, powerful. Many have more than one topic they want to talk about. You have to present that, like Sony was just saying. You have to present it, and you present it in, first written form, or it depends on it because they're all different locations. Guys, it's not a cookie cutter situation out there at all. Rachel's smiling too because she works with them and preparing them to get them on a stage. And so I'm going to go to Bilyana and then to Rachel in regards to this because of the fact that when you're thinking about what is your talk, you need to be thinking not only about what is your talk and what is your topic, but how are you going to present yourself? Is it something that's going to even be interesting in the analytics out there on the computer? Are they, how are people going to find you once you've been on that stage because of the way that the TEDx system goes? I'd love to hear from you about Bilyana, any kind of pearls of wisdom, any golden nuggets that you have that when someone is coming up with their topic, because we dove into this conversation, that you need to be thinking about that whole end in mind in the very beginning, right?
Yeah, correct. Well, I always say, like, the majority of the people usually come to me and say, like, I've got way too many topics, I have way too many stories, and I don't know where to start. I usually ask them, what is the one wisdom you want to share with the world? What is the one thing what you want to pass on to everyone who is watching you? And that one wisdom, usually the first TEDx talk is how people are going to always remember you. Of course, you can do like the people who did 17 times TEDx talks, but the first one is always, I don't know, the closest to the heart, I would say. And you just think about what is that one wisdom in your heart, what you want to really take out and share with everyone. That is, I would say, the starting point.
The starting point. And then you also have them think about, okay, what is it that they're going to be saying? And then we're going to piggyback into Rachel on this. That will then, once they are done, right, and then write it, and then once they're done, how are they going to be found? And so that you get those kind of views that you want, right?
The views, yes. So the views are coming with a digital data, what can be attached to every single TEDx video. I'm talking about 3 hashtags, 6 tags. I'm not going to go into details in the digital data, but the title and extra digital data contains keywords. And those keywords are basically driving people attention and organic views on YouTube and all the rest of the videos. So that digital data is quite important to tell the platform who should come to your talk to watch it. So the second thing what you need to decide is actually who is your audience, because once you dive deep of who is your audience, you're actually, first of all, when you write your script, you have to speak to that audience. You have to use their language. You have to open your heart to those specific people. And the same audience after this needs to be in that digital data, because the platform needs to know also who is that audience, not just you in the script, but also the platform needs to know digitally who is that audience, to know who to show your talk to.
And thank you for sharing this. And some people would say, okay, Tamara, you're going into the weeds with this one. No, I don't think so. Because, it really is just like, no. And this is a Toastmasters guy. You guys know how that works, and a TED Talk. Well, in Jeff's TED Talk, he even talks about he was a teenager and he was in debate club and speech club and all, and getting on the stages and talk. Well, you guys got to watch it. You just got to watch it. And so it's really important to understand these things from the very beginning. And that's what I'm trying to get out there for anybody thinking about being on that big red dot. Let's get success for your message, because a lot of these are legacy messages. And I want to bring this up because I saw a couple of them here. And one of them, Helene, she was talking about her purple. Anybody that knows any of my shows understand the purple pen. If not, go back and look, guys, because she's always coming in and talking about the purple pen. And recently she's been letting us know what that means. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Helene, what an incredible TEDx talk your purple pen would be. I mean, truthfully, it would be powerful, absolutely powerful. And then Cinnamon was actually bringing it up, and that she was talking about how, she was hoping that there would be more specific because of what is interesting to her, more specific types of talks. And the thing I wanted to bring up with this is that anybody with, a big idea, the big idea and taking it and focusing. Some may say, well, I don't know that there would be someone that would be interested. There really is someone interested in a TED Talk in just about everything, right? And so, Rachel, I want to go to you because you have, when was your TED Talk? Let's start with that.
Mine was last year in October. So it
Okay,
was
so
in 2021.
About a year ago. And now you're helping to others that are preparing for TEDx talks, correct?
Correct. Yes. I help them. My team and I help clients get clear on their idea, because that's the part that's difficult for a lot of people to do, is get clear on that idea. What is it that they're going to actually hone in on and talk about?
And that right there is what helps you to get onto a stage. Sony, you just mentioned this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you and guys, if you didn't catch where she's at, there was a little storm that came through the other day named Nicole. Right.
And a few weeks ago, we had Ian, the backside of Ian. So,
yeah, she was showing me pictures that day. Okay, Tam, I'll be there in a second, but I gotta go clean this up, and putting stuff under the stairs and stuff, right? Because of the storm that just came through. And so, yeah, relevant issue. Here, your stage was pre-COVID, correct?
yes, it was.
Yeah. And just recently you had these storms coming through. And so the relevant talks that you guys chose are it's not just that moment. They're relevant for the area. And that's oftentimes what they suggest in the TEDx community, correct?
Yeah. And wrapping up, so we all have big ideas, but wrapping it up so that it's relevant to your audience, whether they're local or global, and you got to choose. Like, beach erosion was one of our topics. We have a PhD. He was raised in the area, is really known in the surf community. But beach erosion is huge. And that's why, like, if you've seen any video about Daytona Beach recently, that storm, like, there are buildings falling into the ocean because of beach erosion. And the things that we as humans have done to impact this. So this was a very relevant talk for us locally, but globally as well. So that's why we chose that one, among others.
So thank you. And I'm right now going to go to you, Jeff, and then I'm going to share another clip, and it's really about, a lot of the buddies. Not everybody understands when we're talking about buddies, because I've been off air for a little while. I have a lot of buddies that hang out with me, and some of my volunteers, of which they all know Dr. Sony, they know Bilyana, and they're going to get to know Rachel and Jeff, I'm sure. And, because these buddies are buddies that deal with something pretty big. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And Jeff, you were like, and that there's the need, and you are out there, and not everybody may even know what Toastmasters is. You're out there, and your TEDx talks about, and this really got me, how you wrapped it up. And I'm not going to give it away completely, but you talk about how, you're helping others, and in the name of your friend. And you talk about his sister, and you talk about Google and doing a search, and give back, the give back that has taken place because of some type of trauma. And you guys were on your way to some kind of a speaking, or preparing for a national speaking situation. He was helping you, and in honor, like you were talking about, in honoring, you're helping others to define their messages. And the speaking, either in Toastmasters or TEDx or any kind of situation where you're getting your message across, there's always an audience, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because before I started getting into being a presenter, I worked broadcast radio for a dozen years. So I was still doing that. I was just doing it in a different way. And without question, I mean, like, for example, I look at what Cinnamon wrote about, somebody should be talking about that. Well, here's my question to Cinnamon is, why isn't it you? Why isn't it you? Because really, in reality, if you are a 3-time MRSA survivor and currently under care for breast cancer, you have a voice that we want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the first thing you need to understand is that your voice is valuable, and what you have to say is valuable. Now, does it need to be shaped? Does it need to be worked on? Absolutely. But I'm going to guess when I say this out loud, the others here on this panel would agree with me on it, which is they didn't exactly just write this the first time and then walk on stage and go, ta-da. But that's not how it works. I wish I could tell you it did. That'd be phenomenal. But, before I ever got on stage, I had given this particular presentation as a shorter presentation a couple of times for about a 5-year period, because for 20 years, I didn't want to talk about it. Okay. But the point I'm getting at with this is, if you're not out there and you're not talking about it, at least start with writing and putting those pieces down in a journal, or starting to figure out what it is, and then reach out to somebody like one of the 4 of us, or even yourself, Tamara, because that's how this all starts. And it's funny because I feel like my journey on TEDx was a little different than everybody else's. The irony of all this was I reached out to that particular TEDx because I wanted to do some TEDx coaching. And the next thing I know, they were like, well, we'd really like it if you applied. And the funny part was I told everybody I wasn't going to get it. There's no way I'm going to get it. There's no way they're going to take me. That they're not going to take me. And it was funny. I was the only person who believed that. Everybody else was like, you're getting it. And I kind of laugh about that. But the point I'm getting at with all of this is that you have these messages out there. You have things that you have to say. And we have been told by so many times, so long, that nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Pardon my French, bullshit. That's
straight talk, guys.
That's not true. That's not true. There is somebody out there that needs to hear what you have to say. And the person who told you that they don't need to hear it is not that person. Yeah. And once you understand that, and once you realize that, you're going to go a lot farther in what you're doing and how you're doing it. Just understand that your voice has meaning. Everybody's voice has meaning. I always laugh when I have people who tell me, oh, I got nothing to say, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. You just have to believe in yourself about doing it.
And we don't have much time, but I don't want to overlook this. And Caroline's asking about Toastmasters and the journey of it. And basically it's like a club, right? And you get together and you get up there, and then they have competitions and all sorts of neat things, right?
So I'll be really quick. So Toastmasters is a worldwide organization, and it's been around for about 98 years. And essentially there's two aspects of it, which is it's really a place where you can physically or via virtually go to practice without anybody being like, you stink, you're horrible, and with positive feedback. At the same time, they do have some speaking competitions. I'm an award-winning presenter with that, as well as I've coached somebody to the World Championship of Public Speaking finals twice. So yeah, I mean, there's possibilities in that regard too. But if you're not looking for a competition, if you're just looking for a place to speak, really in reality, I would say start two places. One is Toastmasters, but there is a fee. The second is a place that I have grown to really love. And I know for some people, social audio is over. But to me, Clubhouse is a stage that's available 24/7 a day, and it's free. All you have to do is download it and find a stage. And if you don't find your right stage, you can make one.
There you go.
So,
I love it.
absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to go into just a real quick clip about the buddies, and the reason why is because this is one of the reasons I'm doing this show right now, is because I am bringing back awareness. We're talking about awareness. We need to have more awareness, and that we can make a difference with something like humor, hope, heart hugs, and a whole lot of love.
Life is so fragile. And we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
So thank you, everyone that's been supporting Team Tamara, because I am running for the Fab over 40, and thank you for the hearts, everyone. And that's for you guys, buddies. And it is all to bring awareness. It's about the awareness. It's about the fact that we can make a difference out there. And so vote. Yes, I am shameless in the fact that I am asking for votes and asking them every day, because we're going to win this, guys. We are going to win this. And Cinnamon, yes, so much so. And yes, you are a chemo buddy for life. And I love you guys. And Cinnamon is saying, thank you so much, Jeff, for the confidence that you shared with her, and would love to talk more. And this is what it's all about, guys. This is really what it's all about, is that I love what you shared, Jeff. Thank you for it. And I want to go around quickly and give you all a moment to kind of button this up. And yes, this is a topic that I want, this is a limited series, guys, but I can always take it over to Service Heroes sometime when that's back up. And so, don't worry, we'll keep this going at some point. But I'm going to go around and I'm going to say, what is the one nugget that, overall arching and what we've been talking about right now, if you can just leave something with everyone. And, also, we will be sharing your contact information, guys. It's going to be on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, and I'll be also going into the Facebook, and I'm going to get all of their contact information so you guys can check in and follow up with them or message them. Bilyana, what would you like to share?
If it's just one message, that would be to, if you always wanted to speak on stage and just share what you've got here in your heart, then yes, go for TEDx. Just do it, and do it now. Just go and apply.
And to follow up with this, and or anybody else can share this, but since you just brought it up, how do they apply for a TEDx? How do you find one?
quickest explanation, you go to TED.com, you go to attending and TEDx events, and you can see the nearest TEDx event around you. From there, you can see the contact details. You can Google the contact details. So just contact the TEDx organizers and ask them how to apply. That is the short version.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff, what would you like to leave everybody with?
One thing, gotta make it quick. It is funny because you totally stole mine. I was totally going right that route, which is there, and that's awesome because we were on the same page, which is that if you're doing this to go viral, you're doing this for all the wrong reasons. And it's exactly what she just said, which is it's got to be about here. It's got to be about what's here. You know, look, we all would love to go viral, and that would be great, and that would be wonderful. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't, were you happy with what you did and how you did it? And you have to be happy with yourself and your rationale and your reason, and be good with the fact that you put a change out in the world. So I think that's the biggest thing I can say is, and I'm not trying to dampen anybody to sit there and say you're not going to get thousands and thousands of views and you're not going to get on TV or anything along those lines. But at the end of the day, was that really why you did it? Because I don't think it was.
Thank you. I'm going to go to you last, Sony. Rachel, I would like to, and I saved a little bit of time for you to give the thought, and then also, if you want to just kind of button it also with the talk or the fact that you are helping people to now with the music and telling their legacy stories also through video.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, kind of coming off Bilyana and Jeff, I would say it's all about giving value. So whatever you feel like you can share that's going to help somebody, that was my intention going in. If I could save one life from sharing my sister's story, I would have done my job. So, and when people don't know, they're nervous or afraid to start talking, just start talking about the things you love. Those are really easy to do. And that will soon build your confidence and soon build your message. So just start talking about the things that you love. And with my sharing people's story through music, I've been helping others do what I did because I saw what it did for me. And that's really like taking your story, putting it in a song, and then creating a lyric video that you can help advocate for something. So it doesn't have to be a health thing. It could be, I have a couple of clients who are advocating for their nonprofits that they created through a song. So it's been really fun. And, we know that music is powerful. It's a powerful connector. And that's why people are drawn to your TEDx talk or stories, is because they can connect to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sony, what would you like to share?
Your voice matters. Caroline put it in the chat before, and it's true. Your voice matters. If you have a story that could impact somebody else's life, share it and keep after it. Maybe TEDx Cocoa Beach isn't your stage, but there is a stage out there for you. My tip would be go set up a Google alert for TEDx call for speakers. They are all over the world.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So you will be notified when people are looking for speakers. Every TEDx has a different theme.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some that are very long running because like universities are invited to host them year after year after year. Whereas like our venue would have only been able to have it for 3 years. We chose one because of many circumstances. But keep applying. Your story, you just have to find the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Perfect. And I'm going to open this up because we do have only a couple more minutes left. However, if there is one question that someone has that you'd like to, I want to make sure, because this has been a very great panel. I want to first of all thank you all for being here, and thank you for believing in your messages. And guys, I think you've probably figured it out that I put this group together for a reason, because they really have a well-balanced way of looking at what is a relevant stage. I knew nothing about what a TED, and I'm wearing the colors today if you guys didn't get that idea. Thank you. I didn't know what a TED or TEDx stage was a few years back. Now I certainly do, and I'm fascinated by them. And then there have been some truly appreciate the panel. There have been some talks that have really spurred on our thoughts, like, why, or the power of a movement, and some of these have only been, I'm going to open this up, open mic right this second. Who wants to say something about the amount of time that a TEDx is?
I will. Your
Okay.
maximum amount of time is 18 minutes. Typically, they're less. If you can do it in 3 minutes, awesome. You just have to really hone your speech, get rid of all the extra, squirrel trails, and just get right to it so it is the most perfect. That's my opinion. 18 minutes is not a long time.
It's not, and it goes fast. And some of the most powerful ones have been only a minute or 2 or 3 and off, because it's one idea that's big. And real quick, who would like to answer this question? Special training.
I'm going to go. TED has a special lovely application. I think it cost either $49 or $39. Don't quote me on that one. That is the official training if you want to go with this one. But there's so much free training around if you want to become just a speaker. As Jeff said, go on Toastmaster or go on Clubhouse. So it's a lot of courses what you can do.
Thank you.
Here, I'll be smart. Reach out to one of the 5 of us.
There you go.
And
I figure we should get some business somehow, right? God forbid.
Oh, okay. Is it Sony?
Don McGrath, our speaking coach, put together a free ebook about how the experience. So I will get that to you, and maybe you can share it with
we can link it into this. That would be perfect. Okay. Well, we are at a point now where we've got to button it up, everyone. I want to thank everyone that has been with us throughout the world, globally on E360 TV platform. Thank you for our network. We want to say thank you for, those that have been here on Facebook and YouTube and commenting. And the bottom line is that your voice matters, your story matters. And if you have something small, but it can be a big idea and it can actually help one person, it's worth it. So with that, we are going to close now, and we'll be back again next week. Vote, vote, vote. See you then.